can't find my headset, so it's Erev Shabbos or Erev Shabbat, and just want to wish everyone a happy day of rest. And let's read some halakha. At first I wasn't gonna do anything, just wish everyone a happy Shabbos. But we're gonna be reading out of the Rambam's Mishneh Torah, Hilakot Shabbos, or Hilakoth Shabbath. And Perek, let's see, out of Perek Lamed, which is chapter 30. And what a Shabbat should look like. I always like this. Remember, I'm getting ready, so I'm not totally dressed yet. So I'll read the first few, and then we'll go on later. There are 4 dimensions to the observance of the Sabbath. 2 originating in the Torah, 2 originating words of our sages. And it is said, which are exposited by the prophet. 2 dimensions originating in the Torah are the commandments to remember the Sabbath day and to observe it. The 2 dimensions given by the prophets are honor and pleasure, which is Yeshayahu 58. It states, "And you shall call the Sabbath a delight, sanctify it unto God and honor." So, what is meant by honor? This is very important. This refers to our sage's statement that it is a mitzvah for a person to wash their face, hands, and feet in hot water on Friday in honor of Shabbat. He should wrap himself in tzitzit and sit with proper respect, waiting to receive the Sabbath as one goes out to greet a king. Interesting, it says king. Some food. Had a piece of cake. The sages of the former generations would gather their students together on Friday, wrap themselves in fine robes and say, "Come, let us go out and greet the Sabbath, the king." Among the ways of honoring the Sabbath is wearing clean garments, clean clothes. You gotta be clean. Also, the idea of washing your hands, your feet. You gotta be clean. You gotta wash your tail. You cannot go to Sabbath, observing Sabbath dirty. Clean yourself. You don't just get off work and say, "It's Sabbath, I'm whatever." Wash yourself up. Try to get off early. Talk to your boss. Definitely, if you're Guris, have your rabbi write you a paper so you get that off, and so you have enough time to get ready as well. One Sabbath garment should not resemble weekday clothes, so not normal clothes. A person who does not have a different garment for Sabbath should allow his robe to hang low, so that his Sabbath clothes will not resemble clothes he wears during the weekday. Ezra ordained that the people launder their clothes on Thursday as an expression of honor Sabbath. Now, remember in the Yokut Yosef, Rabbi Yosef did state that it's okay to do laundry this day and age because it's not as work as it is. So you can do your laundry on Friday as long as you do it early enough and make sure it's done by the time Sabbath comes. I also did a video about this under a different under a different page about being properly dressed for Sabbath. It's not Shabbat yet, so we're still getting ready. So it's still fairly early. We got several hours before Sabbath, so we're still cleaning the house and kids are doing their thing. So um, we also see this idea, and also in the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, and most likely this is Shulchan Aruch as well. I haven't checked the source in Shulchan Aruch. Believe, as I spoke in a video about it a while ago, that it's also the same thing. You should keep your garments. They said they should look different. They shouldn't look like the same, but if not, you could wash them. Especially this day and age, rationale is you could wash them early enough, 5 o'clock in the morning, throw them in the washer, throw them in the dryer. But not if you cannot afford it. And I'll say if you cannot afford it, new clothes per se, you could also go to the Goodwill and buy a nice white shirt and slacks and wash them well. And this is your Sabbath clothes. My suggestion, what I would like to do, I haven't got to do it yet, for my children is they have a set of Sabbath clothes per time of the year. For winter, 2 sets for winter, 2 sets for spring, 2 sets for summer, and 2 sets for fall. And that saves a lot of hassle because you know exactly what you're going to wear. And also this could go in the lines of laws of Borer, which is sorting on Shabbos. You're not allowed to do that. So that goes into that as well, where you're already kind of set up for it, where you know what you're going to wear the next day. But you should also, wear nice clothes on Sabbath. In respect of Sabbath, it's forbidden to plan a meal or a wine fest on Friday, according to the letter of the law that was added in. One may eat or drink until nightfall, nevertheless, as an expression of honor of the Sabbath. A person should refrain from planning a meal for midday afternoon on, so that he will enter the Sabbath with appetite. Because you're eating because of Sabbath. That's a part of honoring, and this is part of the Kaddish. Actually, the laws of Kaddish is before what we're talking about now, and I wanted to skip over that. But it's something we go back to on a different day. We're going to skip a few. Hilkoth. And there's one particular. Okay. Shoot, I skipped too far. And you know what? I think it's not in this chapter. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. So we're going to talk about the meals real quick, and then I'll let you guys go. So we'll be reading Hilkoth, Teth, and Hilkoth Yud. And it says a person is obligated to eat 3 meals on Sabbath, one in the evening, one in the morning, and one in the afternoon. One should be extremely careful regarding these 3 meals, not to eat any less. Even a poor man who derives his livelihood from charity should eat 3 meals on 3 meals. Nevertheless, a person who is sick from overeating or who fasts constantly is not obligated to partake of 3 meals. All these 3 meals must be significant, at which wine is served at each. One must break bread on 2 loaves. The same applies regarding these holidays. Now, here's something interesting. This is halakha. Now, if you guys know, obviously, if you guys are observing like I am, usually the 3rd meal we don't have wine. You have wine after after the Kaddish is said over bread, but you cannot, it's not, wine is not usually partaken of that meal. It's probably a Kabbalistic reason why. I have to look into it. So I was wondering about that when I read this years ago. So what I have to do is maybe just keep reminding me, and I'll look it up and see why Kabbalistically we don't partake of wine. Now you can't. You can't after Kaddish is said and everything's done. Then you say a blessing of the wine itself, but not a part of the actual order when you for the meal. So Halakoth Yud. Eating meat and drinking wine on Sabbath is a form of pleasure for a person, provided this is within his financial capacity. On Sabbath and holidays, a significant meal at which wine will be served is forbidden to be scheduled for the time the house of study is in session. Instead, in practice, a righteous of the former generation would be as follows. A person who would recite morning service and then the additional service, which is Musar in the synagogue. Afterwards, he would return home and partake of the second meal. He would then proceed to the house of study, the Beth Midrash, or the Bet Midrash, or Beth Midrash, and he would read from the written Torah, and then he will study the oral Torah. So this is a custom that we have today. A lot of people study. Everyone that I know that are Shomer, including myself, we study halakha, Shabbos halakha on Sabbath. So what I usually study is I study from the Mishneh Torah. I study from the Shulchan Aruch. I study also study Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, as well as the Ben Ish Kai on laws of Shabbos, and sometimes I get into the other halakoth and the Ben Ish Kai as well, and also look at the Yochid Yosef as well on that day. And there's a book we have. It's a kid's book. It's a really good book. I don't have it around me, but it's all pictures of the different divisions of Shabbat, the things you can observe. 39 divisions. It's a really good book. It's around here somewhere. Cannot find it. And another book, I have it right here. That's really good. The 39 Melochos. This is very good. There's 4 of them. It's an expensive buy. I bought it several years ago, and that's a very good book too. But sometimes you have to understand the difference between minhag and halakha when you get to books like that. There was another one that was really good I had, but I gave it to someone as a gift, and that's a very good one too. I believe Shmironath Shabbath, or I believe that's what it's called. It's blue, the set of books. I might buy it again. Just don't tell my wife. And it's it's one of the best. I love that book, but I gave it to someone. It covers Shabbath and Yom Tov. So we said study Sabbath laws, and he would then partake of the third meal. After that, you do daven during that time, afternoon service. I said till the time which he recites afternoon service. I didn't get there. Then he will partake of the third meal, and the third meal is, it says wine is served. Now, however, like I explained before earlier, and continue eating and drinking until the Sabbath is passed. So that's what technically should happen that our sages did in the earlier generations. And we still follow kind of that same mode, but I think there's a lot more things we add to it now, and which is okay. I mean, of course I studied Kabbalah Musar as well, but at the same time we know that we need to know the difference of what is halakha and what's not too. So it's a busy day, but it's a resting in and with Hashem. And I think that's something we should continue to do. And Baruch Hashem, we're commanded to do it. And that brings up another slew of things as well, but I won't get on that today. And Baruch Hashem, I won't keep you guys. Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos. Happy Sabbath and peace to you all. Talk to you later.